Welcome to the, what did we choose?
May. Yeah, not yet, Ken, not yet.
Yeah, all right, I'm hearing a lot of talk, so let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, welcome to the May meeting of the El Dorado County Fire Safety Council. As always, make sure you check in with Carrie, if you're a board member, to ensure that you have signed in and get credit for being here today. With that, let's rise and face the flag of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. All right, so we certainly apologize this morning for the background noise, the psychological torture that we had to do. But Rebecca and the team working diligently trying to work on got some alarm issues and they've been working on all that. So we will do our best to work through that. Item number 4, our consent calendar for folks should all have received that in the board packet. It's today's meeting agenda and the board meeting minutes from the April 15th board meeting. Any comments, questions on the consent calendar? Okay, hearing none, seeing none online. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, consent calendar approved as presented. You should be happy to note we have no new business or old business on the calendar or the agenda today. Although we do have though a couple of other items at the various reports that will be action items, so we'll be working on those when we get there. So with that, we have item 7, executive board reports. I'm going to defer mine for now, and we'll go right to the door.
Good morning, everyone. And first thing as a reminder, back on the table in the back is our free table. You cannot take the table, but anything on top of the table, you're welcome to. And the one thing we have is some banners with red flag warning. Please, they've been sitting in office. We'd love to see them used out in the community. You can take them, they're yours. And so just a reminder, we'll continue to put things out. There's a big shout out. See the tables and the chairs, you come in, it's all set up. Typically Hugh, thank you very much, has been doing this for the longest time. Yes, clap for that one. And this morning we have a few new recruits that helped out, which was Jason and Ken Rogers. Thank you very much. Those guys that got out. And we're still looking for more backup volunteers to be able to help us set this up. And then at the end of the meeting, remember, we have to tear everything back down. So help is always appreciated. Back on the table too are the last of the workbooks, at least we've gotten hold of before the new emergency preparedness workbook comes out. So take as many as you want. If it's out there, first come first serve, go for it. And right at this point, one other important thing, we will be getting 4 more mics out of the California Fire Safe grant that was given. And so they're not needed for this kind of meeting, but when we have trainings and things here, we'll have actually in addition to, and it's been paid for by the California Fire Safe Council. Yeah. So I know it's good news.
Yeah, that's actually 4 more microphones, not 4 more people named Mike.
Well, we want our volunteers.
Well,
We have lots of cans, so we're lucky.
yeah.
Adding mics in.
Thank you, Dorothy, for that, and thank you again, Hugh, for always taking care of us here. I know they're waiting to install that. They're looking for some parts, I think, to come in and they'll get that taken care of here. And thank you, Dorothy and Tam is working on that grant to help us get that done. Okay, well, as we mentioned last time, we've added a parliamentarian report to our agenda because absolutely we can't go a meeting without hearing from Paul.
I get the good stuff. We're gonna have a party here on Sunday, June 14th, from 1 o'clock. You should be getting an announcement shortly. more details to follow, but it's just an opportunity for us to get together. And no business and to celebrate our successes and recognize the people who have really helped us along for so long. Pay attention to your email. We'll be sending out again more information. Sunday, June 14th, 1 o'clock. Be there, be square. That's it.
Thank you, Paul. Secretary report, Angel, and there is some meatiness to this report, so we're gonna turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. The first item is nominations. The nomination period has opened for those interested in running for a position on the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council Board of Directors and Executive Board. All councils are welcome to have representation from their council nominated for the board, and nominations are being accepted now and have been, but actually Jessica is going to put up a document so we can all see the nominees.
Oh, yep, and then I gotta, where's my Zoom? Share. Did it go through, Ken?
I think it's trying.
Okay,
There you go.
perfect.
Executive board positions are 1 year, so the term is from 26 to 27. We have incumbents and nominees on the screen. Would you like me to read them, or are you reading them for yourself?
You should read it.
Okay, Chair Bob Hess nominee, Vice Chair Dorothy Fine incumbent, Treasurer Bill Rice nominee, Secretary Angel Ball incumbent, Parliamentarian Paul Penn incumbent. Is there anyone in the room that would like to nominate themselves for any of these positions? I see the line forming. I don't know if we can accept all of these. Okay, is there any online? Jessica,
No.
yeah, nodding her head, no?
No.
Okay. The general board, a 2-year term from 26 to 28. We have Bill Rice, member at large, Jason Jackson, Fort Jim, Karen Pullen, Mosquito, Sherry Hawk, Gold Ridge, Greg Ball, Strawberry, Mike Connolly, Auburn Lake, Cord Wagner, El Dorado Hills South, Elizabeth Sandeven, Sandridge, Rich Langan, Serrano, Angel Ball, member at large, Lester Lubikin, Oak Hill, Dorothy Fine, Camino, Paul Penn, Diamond Springs. Are there any other nominations for the board of directors? In the room, the line is forming once again. Okay. Any online, Jessica?
No.
No online. Nominations will not be accepted after 5 p.m. on Friday, May 22nd. So if you were a little shy today, it's okay. You can send us your nomination.
And Angel, could I add on a little commentary here, just as a
Yes.
reminder?
Yeah.
Every fire safe council, every associate fire safe council, as per our bylaws, is entitled to representation as a member on the board of directors. And as you can see, we don't have all of the fire safe councils represented on the board of directors. And I would really encourage, and I know that probably not everybody's online today from all of the councils, but it is a great opportunity to stay connected with the board and help shape where all of the councils and the umbrella council are going. And so I would encourage folks to talk to other councils or members within your existing councils to discuss engagement as a board of director member. Got a few more days left to do that. Thank you.
Angel,
Can you
the
get
list
to
of,
the,
nom-
can you get to the podium, please? Thank you. think it's.
the list of nominees and, incumbents for the board of directors, they're only showing those, that have turned out
Correct.
correct.
The
So,
ones
so
you
there,
see on the
it's
screen.
it's not a full list
Good
because
point. Thank you for, yeah. But I can guarantee you, it's still not a full list even with the other side.
Well, I did anticipate these questions, and we have 24 board of directors and we have 32 councils, and that may change, but there are 6 to 10 councils that are not currently have a board of directors on their, on the board. But we have some new names up there, which is great, and I appreciate everyone that is returning and everyone that is new signing up. Now, are there any other questions on the nominations? Okay, seeing none, I have a couple of other items. The first one is renewals. I did suggest that you all return your renewals for your associate fire safe councils by June 10th. We have currently 32 councils and I've received 14 renewals. And I always like to appreciate the first one, and that was Occam Fairplay for returning their application for their renewal. So thank you. Second item is I spoke about the potential office space rental, and we are currently negotiating with the landlord. We've submitted our wishes, hopes, and dreams on the new location, and we're waiting for their response saying that they've granted all of our wishes, hopes, and dreams. So as soon as I know more, you'll know more. And renewals. I have nothing for governance and no new council formations at this time. End of report.
Any questions for Rachel?
There is one extra thank you. The buzzing that's been going on because the alarm system is off just today. Thank you, David, who is in the back of the room and has to push the button every time the alarm stops. Or starts, so he puts it off.
I think it was a
qualified person in the room.
We're not gonna say it was an ulterior motive to keep David busy through the meeting. Love you, David. Thank you, Angel. All right, next up, treasurer's report, Kenneth.
Good morning. In your late treasurer's packet that came out, and I want to thank everybody for your understanding that to put together the treasurer's packet in time for this board meeting sometimes is a challenge to get done in time for the board packet itself. So I appreciate your patience. I do try to get it to you as soon as possible, and thank you to Angel and Carrie for dogging me on it all weekend long. So on the treasurer's report, are you waiting for Jessica?
Swan.
Nothing new on the Fire Safe Council operation page. We're plugging along through our budget there as normal. Nothing out of the ordinary on that page. We continue to bring in, with the closure of grants, our fiscal sponsor fee, which supports our operations. And with the closure of the 4 grants or 5 grants that we did in April, there's another sludge of fiscal sponsor fee money that will be coming in May, and some that came in April. So you can see that highlighted at the top of the page there. On the second page, we are closing out the grants. The CAL FIRE grants that you see on here that will be closing out or closed out in March, that we did the final reports on in April. You will get the final balances for those in the May report. So you'll see that in June, but nothing out of the ordinary. I added the PG&E grants in here for the, or not PG&E, PG&E grants for the Associate Fire Safe Councils at the bottom. Title III of the one thing that we did have happen in the current month is we actually exceeded or expended all of our defensible space funding. As a result, we had a balance of defensible space payments to make that we made out of Title III to cover our vendors, and we closed the program down. So until we get additional defensible space grant, which we hope we will be getting one from the county in July, we do not have funding for defensible space. So you'll see a little bit of funding here, but that is for the build out of our assistance program GIS portal. With that, any questions about the monthly treasury report?
Okay. Not seeing or hearing questions, first of all those in favor of approving the treasurer's report as presented by Janet signify by saying aye. Any opposition? Approved as presented. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you all for your trust and support. Just to follow up on the treasures, on the operations, we are completing our audit. I've been working with Vaughn Johnson. I hope that we have that finalized this week. I'm working on that. Also working on, Tamara's been my guinea pig on starting ACH payments, so direct payments for our invoices, and she got 26 cents. So she's only 25, so she's very happy. She has 25 cents. So that's proceeding.
Nice.
So the next item is our 26-27 budget. This was presented to all of you last month. There have been no changes to the proposed budget for 26-27. Is now that you've had time to think about it, are there any questions on the proposed 26-27 budget?
The votes online, we're waiting for it to spool up, so we'll get in a second. Almost there. There we go.
Yes, Lester.
Yeah, hi, I had a question, just actually it deals more with the indirect that we'd be collecting from, various grants. Whether with kind of what's going on now with the grants, the kind of smaller dollar amounts anyways, whether this budget is still balanced with expected, indirect.
So we did an analysis which we presented in February or March, which indicates that we have, I think it was 4.5 years worth of funding available as right now if we didn't get another grant, which we know that we will be getting additional grants, but as of today, we are well funded for the next 4.5 years. Thank you, Lester. And we're always requesting the max amount of fiscal sponsor fee in our grants.
Any other questions to Janet on the budget, either in the room or online?
Did you finish the second page?
Okay, so with that presented, all those in favor of approving the fiscal year 26-27 budget for the Fire Council signify by saying aye. Any opposition? Hearing and seeing none, budget for the next fiscal year is approved as presented, and thank you, Janet, and the entire team of people working to put that together. Made it one more year of fiscal solvency.
Yeah.
So moving right along, we are up to our partners reports, and I'm going to do my best to catch folks. Anybody from DLM today? You know, we've had folks in meetings all week. We were just with Roger Brown yesterday, and he's been at our planning area meeting, so DLM is definitely engaged with us. I know it's a busy day for CAL FIRE, not just because of fire activity, but they're burning at Prairie City this morning. But am I seeing CAL FIRE where? Okay. All right, next up, Office of Wildfire Preparedness and Resilience, Tanya.
I'm your ride or die. I'm always here. Okay, a few things happened this last month. One of them was the Diamond Springs evacuation drill put on by OES, and I don't see them here, so I can go ahead and just let you know how well that went. There was a ton of community in the room. I wish I had the numbers, but I don't. Okay, yeah, okay, well, so you could talk about it too.
I'll give one song for the stuff.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
but it was a really impressive show of partnership as well. I would say there's 75 community members, Paul, but then there was probably like 75 partners in the room. Fire, CAL FIRE, all the forest, everybody, all the partners, the county departments that deal with emergencies. It was really, everybody was there, and I think it was really good for the community to see that. And a lot of really good information and reminders, very timely reminders for this season that we're going into. May 2nd was the kickoff, CAL FIRE's kickoff to their wildfire preparedness week, and they did that, I mentioned last time. They wanted to do a Neighbors Helping Neighbors event somewhere in one of our fire safe councils. We were able to identify a 87-year-old resident in Logtown who needed help with his defensible space. And Logtown was also having their green waste and chipping day at the same time. So there was a ton of really good activity. CAL FIRE, the SEAS crew, and the tribal fire crew all went out and did work on this gentleman's property and cleared his defensible space, including his 0 to 5. He was not able to do it. It was overgrown. The neighborhood is much safer because of it, because this particular home was just, they couldn't manage it. It was a wonderful day. It was very inspirational. I just want to point out a couple things that, I noticed that didn't make it on the video. One, again, Logtown was having their green waste and shipping day. The line to that was backed up through the market. Tons of community engagement. And as far as I heard, the crews that were working that only got a 30-minute break the whole day. It was really great. At the resident's home, a gentleman came over with his tractor and offered up his tractor to do whatever he could. He also donated a roll of the weed barrier to put down on the 0 to 5. And another neighbor came over with a tray of coffees and a tray of cookies. And it was, neighbors were stopping to be, to say hi to Mr. Burkhart and to, express how grateful they were. It truly was a Neighbors Helping Neighbors event, and it inspired me, because I know we can do this more often in our communities, and so that is something that we are going to be working on. So I thank you, Logtown, and all of your support for that. And then I was also able to stop by and speak to Philip Lettuce Fire Safe Council. They had a really great event that Bob, I'm sure, will tell you about. And I just stopped by Serrano's just to make sure that their Firewise event was going well, and it was. So there's some really good ideas the way that fire safe councils and Firewise communities are gathering and engaging their communities. So it's just good things are going on out there. And then lastly, Ken and I were invited to speak on a panel at a PG&E, or a utility wildfire mitigation conference that was held last week. And the purpose of our panel, or the breakout session, was community engagement for utilities. And they're very impressed, as usual, with our county and the way that we do partnerships. The partnerships and the coordination that happen here are really a big story, and people want to know how we do it. And so just kudos again for everything that everybody does here. And that's my end of the report.
No, thank you, Tanya. Just to really tag on that piece, Mark Egbert was invited to be on the panel as well, along with Jeff Hogue. Unfortunately, Mark came down ill and couldn't make the trek, but Jeff Hogue at CAL FIRE was with us, and it was really a testament to the relationship that we have grown collectively, all of us here in the room with PG&E and the others. Mike Webb really pushed hard, has for a long time, to get PG&E at the program level engaged in vegetation treatment and really telling our story. And so, flash forward now a few years, and we have a direct relationship with Kevin Johnson in their wildfire resiliency program, and Derek Davis within his shop, and the kinds of folks that were asking questions about Fire Safe Council and others were the Vice President of Wildfire Resiliency, Andy from PG&E and others. And this was made up of utilities from across the Western United States. I think there were over 500 people attending, and it wasn't just it actually was limited in the number of fire and other folks. There were some, fire experts and others there, but it was really an opportunity for utility professionals to see on the ground how it works out here and who the partners are and how folks have been successful, and they're really trying to spread this model really around the country as everyone else in around the country is dealing with very similar challenges we are. So that's really a testament to all of you, because you're all building the story, and it makes it easy when we get an opportunity to share what you're all doing. So it was a good event, and I think there'll be more coming. Okay, so I know, again, there's just lots of things going on, fire activity now around the state, along with just spring is always busy season for our fire agencies and partners. I do not see, and I'm just looking in the room, anybody from the Fire Chiefs Association or the fire prevention officers, just double checking.
Where did that guy go?
Right, and I'm also not seeing the Forest Service today. I do see Courtney Jackson, the RCD. She's right there. She was right. Good morning, Courtney.
I was getting she wanted to take our video back.
Oh. I flick the switch up.
Short person over here. Sorry about that. I was getting a message. No matter. It was from my fearless leader, so I always take those. And I had to tell him this is more important. So Courtney with the RCD. I just want to give you a brief update on the projects we're working on right now, starting with the Caldor Fire Restoration and Recovery, Phase 2 in the Community Center. Just want to remind everyone that we are still collecting ROEs, so it is not too late to get into this project. We're also working on the Grizzly Flats Water Smart project, which is the recovery and restoration for the Grizzly Flats water system. We're working in North Canyon, and we've already completed 80 acres so far. In addition, we're working on the Caldor hazardous tree removal along Highway 50 and the cabin tracks. Operations are currently in 46 Milestone and Sales Canyon. We're also working on the Mosquito EFRT, the recovery and restoration project for the mosquito fire, and operations are underway with tree felling and debris removal. Operations have started in the Auburn Lake Trails Northern Shaded Fuel Break. So that is going along very nicely. In addition, South Placerville Fuel Break. This is a CAL FIRE vegetation management project. We're currently collecting right of entry agreements, and ARC surveys are expected to begin soon in a unit along Highway 49. And we're also working with PG&E regarding their utility corridor and the fuel reduction expansion along their transmission lines. Part of that will be in the South Placerville fuel reduction project and along Highway 49. Are there any questions? Yes.
Shouted over there. Have they awarded the contract for the inside the community work yet?
Not yet. We are yes, that is ongoing. So hope to have a update on that in the next meeting.
Okay.
Much before that for you. So.
Okay, perfect. And then I guess the second part of this is, do you know when the work will start, or is that contingent on the?
That's contingent on the contractor hiring. So yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Courtney. Yeah. Can you hear me now? All right, there we go. Any technical issues this morning? Well, Courtney just triggered a thought to share with you that, I don't know that it was come up before necessarily in some of the presentations, but the El Dorado Water Agency is partnering with, the county and fire districts, CAL FIRE and others through the coordination group to identify water sources around the West Slope for firefighting purposes. This was a project started by the Wildfire Resiliency Coordination Group a year or two ago. A number of the fire agencies started compiling data and sharing it and putting it into a sort of a directory, and Water Agency is subsequently working with a contractor that's going out and looking at more remote water sources or your non-infrastructure based water sources, ponds, et cetera, and building a database. And ultimately, and they're not quite ready to share that back out even with the working group, but the intent is to try to put all of this together, understanding it's dynamic and requires updating often because things change, both weather and water availability and infrastructure. But there are opportunities to start including this data in things like tablet command, and that's what you'll see now in almost all the fire engines and fire resources, is basically their ability to have mobile data inside the cab of their vehicle. And in addition to all of the response information, there are just a myriad of data layers they will have and already have access to. And that includes things like where fire hydrants are located, roads, even, like Sierra Pacific Industries kinds of roads, and also these other kinds of water sources potentially. So it's definitely a work in progress, but there's been a lot of support collectively to try to bring this to fruition. So hopefully in the coming months, over the next year, we'll be able to see, where this is going and have some opportunities to share it back with folks. Yes.
How finite is that?
Well, the question is, how finite is that? We have, for example, the El Dorado Hills Fire Department had a very comprehensive list of water tanks and other water sources, right down to several thousand gallons. Some of the fire districts have had programs over the time where people are registering their home water to their water storage tanks, but it's very hit and miss. There is an ability for defensible space inspectors when they're out to capture that information and put it in the database. Right now, really haven't determined the full range of what that governance would be, but I certainly think there's opportunities for things like, several thousand gallon water tanks, if they're marked and identified and visible and have access by fire officials to use. But right now it's sort of all over the map in terms of what's being collected.
Like swimming pools?
Absolutely, swimming pools. But they're legitimate water sources, right? They're not things that are temporary. But again, our county is very diverse in terms of the kinds of things we have out there. So a lot of this is trying to get a handle on what we know and sort of cataloging that and ensuring it has value. And then how do we capture what we don't know through inspections or other processes, and where people want volunteer information, et cetera. So more to come there. Yes, Lester.
Up in Nevada County, we've seen some signage that's also used to identify some of those water sources. And I know when we've been talking in some of the assessments we do, we've been talking about the value of some kind of signage. Anyways, is there some standard for that, or are they looking at that, something that we could start sharing with the individuals that have water sources?
No, unfortunately, we don't have a representative from the fire prevention officers today, but I can tell you as a resident of South County in the Pioneer Fire Protection District, they do have a program where you register your water source and they pay a small fee and they provide you a sign. And I have that on my property. It identifies the size of your water tank. It's a blue sign that's accepted by them. So there are programs out there. And I'm thinking maybe what we should add this to a future discussion or presentation for folks, because I think I know it's been talked about in pieces in the past, but I think it's super valuable to revisit this discussion. Anyway, thank you. All right, with that, moving on, since I train wrecked us there for a second, Eric Brown, contacted me from SMUD, he wasn't able to make today. Doesn't look like Mike Webb made it today, and I know they're coming on the heels of a number of public safety power shutoffs and other parts of the region and dealing with new fire activity. I don't see EDSO, anybody from Office of Emergency Services on. Okay, I do see John Hutchings from the Bureau of Reclamation on. Good morning, John.
Morning, Ken. Thanks for having us here today. Yeah, just some quick updates. We don't currently have any work ongoing on our Auburn or Folsom project lands at the moment. Working with Zarella Guerrero on getting two new contracts out for bid to support fuel reduction work in Auburn and Folsom. One of those is going to be a fuel reduction contract to contract out for mastication, hand crew, herbicide treatment work in the Auburn State Recreation Area. That'll cover our projects that we have in the Cool Pilot Hill, Auburn Lake Trails, and Georgetown communities. We're hoping that contract's going to be awarded in November, which is the timeline we've been given from our contracting office. Our contracting division was hit pretty hard with staffing reductions over the last year. We're kind of hanging on by a thread there, so that's the soonest commitment we can get from them for that. But it's the package is submitted. It's with our acquisitions office. It'll go out for bid later this summer and hopefully awarded by November. Simultaneously doing the same thing for a new goat grazing contract to support our lands in Auburn and Folsom. Same timeline, same situation for the goat grazing contract. Looking at November for that. That'll be kind of one of our predominant maintenance tools, hopefully, to maintain the mechanical work that's done under our mechanical fuel reduction contract. We are, however, trying to push forward an interim goat grazing contract, kind of a nearer term action. The two that I mentioned previously are going to be 5-year contracts, a higher dollar threshold. We're looking at trying to get a smaller contract awarded in the interim for goat grazing to try and get some work done really before the peak of fire season this year. We've been receiving some complaints from folks in the Pilot Hill, South Cool area about the presence of overgrown grasses and fire concerns there. We want to be responsive and address those, so we're trying to look at different avenues to get something awarded earlier to address those concerns. But I've been in contact with the landowners there and keeping them informed of what we're doing. So we're trying to push things through there as best we can. We have down in the Folsom area on the Lake Hills, El Dorado, or Folsom Lake Shaded Fuel Break around El Dorado Hills. We have about 2 weeks of work with the California Conservation Corps that we're intending on putting on that project there. My intention is to reach out to the Lake Hills Fire Safe Council, Steve Willis, get him ingrained in kind of the work we have planned and get some of his input on where to put those crews. Probably looking at some enhancement and maintenance of past work with those crews there with the short amount of time we have. So hoping to get that moving soon. Other items, I'm distributing out for signature very soon a memorandum of understanding between Reclamation and all of the fire and resource conservation districts that border Reclamation's Auburn and Folsom project lands. This MOU is essentially a blanket land use authorization to allow signatories access onto Reclamation property to support our fuels reduction efforts. Advantage if a community has grant funding that can be applied on federal lands. This is the authorization to apply those funding on federal property. We've utilized this a number of times with the RCD and other local fire districts. So I'm right now working to make sure I have all the correct signatories before I distribute for signature. So I need to make sure I've got everything correct. I've got like 15 or 16 different signatories on here. Need to make sure I've got everything buttoned up before it goes out for signature. But I got about 3 districts I'm trying to verify signatures, and then I'll be sending that out for signatures probably early June, I'm guessing. So, and speaking of that, before we put it up for signature, I don't know if the El Dorado Fire Safe Council would be an interested party in this. If you guys are, I can't remember if you're a 501c3 organization or not. But it's something, Ken, we can talk about offline if there's an interest in having you participate.
That would be great. We are a 501c3, and I know we had committed to circling back with you offline to look at it and talk about it. So please,
sure.
Let's look at that.
Okay, perfect. I'll send you an email. I can give you a draft copy of it. Get your eyes on it. But that's it for updates for right now from BOR.
I think John Tamara has a question.
Yeah.
John, this is Tamara from the Georgetown Divide Fire Safe Council, and for the grazing, I just wanted to let you know that I think last year I had a grazing company in Pilot Hill reach out wanting to do some local work. I think he mostly works in Sonoma, and he was hoping to work a little closer. So if it's of interest, I can look back for that contact information and get it to you. I don't know where you are in the grazing contracts.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think that may be the same company that one of the homeowners referenced. They're up, in the Catacroft Lane neighborhood over there, and mentioned a company out of Pilot Hill. What we're going to be doing is we're going to put together it's called a blanket purchase agreement type contract. So we're going to pretty much will allow any prospective bidders to put in a bid on our contract that are, those folks that are qualified to do so, to contract with the federal government. And then we'll issue task orders based on however our contracting office determines who's the best bidder for the project. But if they want to get, I would encourage them to get on sam.gov. It's SAM, like Uncle Sam.gov, and look for our contract solicitation. I don't know exactly what it's going to go out, but they would be registered as a prospective bidder, and then they would get an opportunity to work under that contract. But we do aim to prioritize local vendors for these efforts here, so it would be great to have them participate.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
For John. Well, and a huge thank you. John, his office is out of Chico, and he yet has found time to drive down for some late evening meetings. He was at the North Area Planning meeting, and he and Zarella have been really engaged on behalf of BOR, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Okay, next up, program reports, grants, funding, grants, all things grants. Cameron?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot going on. Already going on and coming up. So first off, the current grants, as Janet mentioned, we fully closed out 5 CAL FIRE grants in March, worked on the reports. So by the end of April, the final reports were submitted, and we've received approval from CAL FIRE that they're fully closed out. So Janet's not here right now, but Janet did the bulk of the work on that, the RCD as well. And so that was quite an accomplishment to get those grants closed out. It was probably about $8 million worth of grants. To piggyback on what Janet had said earlier about closing out or pausing our defensible space program, we have requested a budget amendment from CAL FIRE for our chipping grant to move about $200,000 over from that grant over to defensible space. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to approve that. It could be 6 weeks or so, but once they do, we'll be able to open the program back up again. So that's why there's no exact timeline of when the program will be opened on the website, but we're working to get more money to be able to reopen it, because of course it's a really pivotal time right now for people to be doing defensible space. Let's see what else I've got going on. California, thank you all for the Fire Safe Councils that submitted projects for the California Fire Safe Council grant. We had 15 Fire Safe Councils submit proposals for up to $4,000. Most councils did the $4,000. A few did a little under. So we had I think we're putting in about $58,000 for the fire state council projects, and then we're putting money in for the assessment program to hire some, to have more paid program support for that, staff support for that program. So the final request was roughly 120,000. And the anticipated grant start date is October 1st. So as we know from the previous grant, that could slip, but that's what we're looking at right now is October 1st if we get it. We have a grant pending with BLM, California Forest and Woodlands Resource Management, for roughly 1.5 million. We've been told we're getting it, but it's not final yet. I just had to submit some revised paperwork to them, and it's hopefully coming. I keep hearing it's coming this month, but then the next month comes. So I'm hoping May, but it could be June. And that money will be for NEPA and environmental compliance work on BLM, all the BLM lands, and then some vegetation management. So about 350,000 for the NEPA work. We'll have about 960,000 for actually doing implementation of treatment, and then a little under $200,000 will go to indirect. So just as what Janet said, and to Lester's question earlier, every time we apply for a grant, we are putting in the maximum indirect percentage that we're allowed to do. So on federal grants, you can do 15%. So that's what we put in. We had applied for submitted a concept proposal for the CAL FIRE Forest Health Program for a little under $8 million to do treatment and maintenance in the Garden Valley area, and then to do planning near the Georgetown area. We were invited to submit a full proposal, which is exciting. So we'll be submitting that at the end of June 29th, that's due. And then upcoming, as many of you probably know, the CAL FIRE has announced 2 opportunities coming up. One is the fire prevention grants. Those are due July 8th. The maximum grant for that is $950,000. As we've discussed many times before, the strategy we're looking at is to apply for one project in each of the 4 planning areas, and then also apply for our defensible space program. So we'll be submitting, assuming we have a project in each of the planning areas, we'll be submitting 7 applications to them as part of the fire prevention grant round. We had a meeting with CAL FIRE representatives. They don't know yet how much money they're going to get. The money is allocated by unit. So we're in the Amador El Dorado unit, which includes Amador County, El Dorado County, Alpine County, and a little bit of Sacramento County. So it's much bigger than just El Dorado. And in the past, they've gotten about $6 million per unit. So, and we've been fortunate enough that I think we've been fortunate enough to usually get 2 million of that. And I think that's a testament to all of the work and planning and coordination that we're doing, that we are so successful in these grant programs. But anyway, just keep that in mind. We're going to be submitting probably 7 grants and maybe get 2 of them. And then CAL FIRE has also put out a regional wildfire and landscape resilience grant opportunity. By the way, this is coming out of Proposition 4 that was passed in 2024. There's a lot of money coming out of that proposition. A portion of it was for wildfire prevention mitigation work. So that's why there's so much money right now available, and we're trying to apply for as much as we can. So this grant, Regional Wildfire and Landscape Resilience Grant, they have the total of $30 million to give out statewide. You can apply for up to 20 million. Maximum grant is 20 million. Minimum grant is 5 million. And it's focused on kind of larger scale fuel reduction work, and they're looking at kind of a regional focus and collaborative projects. So we'll need to look at kind of which projects we already have out there that would be the most competitive, I think, in this grant round. And I think this all really reinforces what we're doing in terms of working together to kind of figure out collaboratively what our projects should be, and really honing in on where we want to be applying rather than just submitting kind of willy-nilly. It's helping us, I think, be more successful in our grant projects, grant applications.
All of the above.
All of the above, yeah. Yeah, all of the above. And towards that, we had our successful South Planning Area meeting on May 5th. Thank you so much to all the fire safe councils that came. It was a really good attendance. Everybody got me their maps, which I appreciate, and I think we had a good discussion. And I know Lester's putting together a meeting with fire safe council members at that planning area to look at what the application should be for the CAL FIRE fire prevention grants. The East meeting is scheduled for June 2nd. That will be at 5:30 in the Gold Ridge Clubhouse in Pollock Pines. And I have not had a chance to go through all the maps that everybody sent me, but I'm planning to do that on Friday. And if you have not yet sent me your maps, please do. They're really important at these meetings. What we do is look at the work from all of the different agencies on a screen, all the maps, where the agency work, and then each fire safe council will have a map layer for your fire safe council, and you can talk about what projects are important to you and kind of the rationale, and then we can see everything on one map. So the maps are really key to the success of the meeting. So if you have not gotten me your maps, please do. And then the West meeting was originally scheduled for June 23rd. I sent out an email yesterday to all the fire safe councils in the West because CAL FIRE's moved up their timeline this year and the fire prevention grants are due July 8th. We're hoping we can move up that West planning meeting to June 9th. I think Bill Osgood from Serrano responded that he could attend June 9th, but I haven't heard back from anybody else. So if you can't do it, let's talk. It's just, if we're waiting till June 23rd, it's just really hard to turn that around in a couple of weeks. And I don't want to not apply for something in the West because we didn't have a meeting yet. That would be really a shame. So please respond to that email and let me know if you can attend on June 9th instead. Okay, other things of note, I mentioned last time, I'm working on scheduling a training through the Colorado-based coalitions and collaboratives, I think it's called. They do what I've heard is a really great training on community engagement and outreach, kind of best practices around community engagement and outreach. And so I think it would be very helpful for all of us as people working in our communities to kind of learn what's working in other areas. It's a 2-day training. The tentative dates right now that we're looking at are either October 28th and 29th, November 9th and 10th, or December 7th and 8th. And I just as can I have a show of hands of people who would be interested in attending this training? And then, well, first, let me know if you're interested. Okay, and then are there do all of those dates work for you? Or, email me, if you want to email me, email me with the dates. I'll send out an email about this and get kind of response with what would be the preferred date, so we can get that scheduled. I had a meeting with the team there and it sounds really great. They're excited to do a training in California. They haven't done one in our state yet, which is kind of interesting. And what they'll do is we will have they do this for free, but we'll have the first priority for signups, and then they'll open it up to other people to attend the training. And it's, I guess, different fire personnel need this training to get certified for certain things. So it's a apparently very well vetted, great training. So I'll send in an email about this. And then my final thing is, this is not grants related, but I just want to remind everybody there's a candidate forum today. We have 11 candidates, no, actually 10 candidates coming, representing all of the congressional districts that are in our county. Our supervisors, there's 3 out of the 4 supervisors running in District 4 are attending. There's one of the insurance commissioner candidates and representatives from the assembly and the state senate will all be here for a candidate forum. So that starts at 12:30 here. Yes, here. Starts at 12:30. It's what our brown bag is today. You'll have the opportunity each of them will give an opening statement of 2 minutes. It's focused only on fire prevention, mitigation, and insurance. They are not allowed to talk about anything else, and I will cut them off if they do. I've warned everybody. And questions from the audience need to be focused on those topics as well. And I will also cut you off if you veer off into anything. I'm going to be really strict about this. We want this focused on fire topics. And it's also an opportunity for you to, I think, you don't have to just ask questions. I think you can let them know kind of top of mind what the issues are. So the reason we're doing this is not just so people can kind of get a sense of who to vote for, but it's also so people who are running for office and maybe getting into office will understand better from the community's point of view what the real issues are. So it's really intended to be an exchange, and I hope as many of you that can stay for that will stay for that. I would appreciate it. So, and did somebody have a question?
Yes, Tamara.
Okay.
On the CAL FIRE fire prevention grant, you said that there are 7 applications, 1 from each region, and what are the other 3?
We'll be applying for our 3 defensible space programs. We had so 1 for hazardous tree, 1 for defensible space, and 1 for chipping. We're having, and this is kind of just almost a strategic thing. We'll get a bit in the weeds, but we're having challenges moving money around. Like, we don't always know when we're going to run out of money in each of the programs. As right now, we just ran out of defensible space. So each of the applications, we have a meeting with CAL FIRE to kind of figure out strategically how to do this, but each of the applications will have a focus. So like the chipping program, it'll be most of the budget will be in the chipping program, and then a little bit for hazardous tree and a little bit for defensible space. And we'll do that for each of the grants so that when we need to move money around within a grant, it's easier to do it. So chances are we will only get 1 of the grants, but they are encouraging us to apply for 3 grants. So just in case they have more money, maybe we'll get 2 of the grants, which would be great because we're going through about $2 million in, right, Janet? $1.5 to $2 million a year in our defensible space. Yeah, in our defensible space program. So, so anyway, we're trying to finagle to get 2 grants, but we'll see if we do. Elizabeth?
Just an observation on the defensible space grant strategizing going forward. So what I've been hearing from neighbors and then at the Home Guard, just everybody I've talked to that has used that program, they are very appreciative of it. They tend to sign up again the next year to get some weed eating done. They're telling their friends. So I only see growth in that defensible space program, and that we're still trying to promote it. So yeah, and you guys know the numbers and see how fast the money's going out, but just from on the ground, people are becoming are realizing it's there, are hoping to rely on it, and unfortunately all of us are getting older every day, and it's it's gonna get harder and harder collectively to continue to do the work we need to do on our property. So I only see the need for this program growing going forward. So
well, and especially for the defensible space assistance program in particular, we are getting money from the county at some point this summer, which I think is around $2.1 million from the county. El Dorado County has a I don't know, $10 million BLM grant. And so they're giving us 2.1 million of it towards our defensible space program. Yeah.
Their grant, however, is not fully funded in that they have not received all the money from BLM, so that may come in fits and starts as they have funding to give us. But the contract with the county is for $2.1 million over the next 3 years.
We have a question online from Sherry.
Yeah, I have a neighbor that was asking me the other day because he found out about the notice that the program for defensible space was closed, and he had applied for it a few weeks back, maybe even a month back. Will he just be placed on hold, or will those that already signed up still get the project done?
Yeah, Sherry, I actually was able to personally email all of our active applicants and inform them that their place will be held in line.
Okay.
We do service in chronological order, and based off of when they applied, they will be serviced. Unfortunately, we do have 340 pending applications.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it is truly a beautiful thing, but I like to reassure them that we will be servicing them. It's just gonna take some time.
Okay, thank you. I will have him check his email. Thank you.
Of course.
Lester.
Yeah, Tamara mentioned that the South Planning area was hoping to try and schedule a meeting. And I'd asked the representatives here from the various fire safe councils, right after this meeting closes, if we can all gather so that kind of come up with a date that everybody's agreeable.
Ms. Lester.
Any other questions? Any other questions on that? Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. Yeah, there is just a lot happening in all of that. And
I just want to say this June is going to be absolutely crazy for me. And so if I don't respond to your email immediately, I'm really sorry. It's just, I'm drowning right now. So.
Well, and so we're 2 of the 4 planning area meetings, as Tamara said, have been accomplished, and we have 2 more coming. And they are, this is the first time we've done it this way as we're implementing the new CWPP. And it's always a work in progress, and we're learning as we go. But the feedback from the partner agencies during these meetings and the discussion is really worth its weight in gold. But we've had a lot of discussions with CAL FIRE and others after the meetings as to what they're hearing. And I think particularly the South County discussion between things came up about, Ken provided some really valuable information about a project in Logtown that really fell off the radar in some respects because it was funded at one point a number of years ago, and then it fell down, I think, because of some COVID issues or other contractor availability. So by putting everybody in the room, we're starting to rethink and re-talk about projects and put them all up there together. And CAL FIRE is thinking about, think about how you could put a project proposal together that incorporates, even though they're not connected geographically, how you would put these together to truly represent those councils and what's happening in that particular area. And it's really sort of opened the dialogue, and CAL FIRE, to the full extent they can, being the grantor, is trying to be creative with us into how to make these the most successful project going forward. And it's only working because everybody's in the room having the discussion at the same time. So it's like making sausage. It's not clean, it's not neat. And it may not look at the back end like we thought it might going in, but it is truly probably just take that. Yeah, get my point. This is the work in progress. George is good. It's working. I move on. So. Never mind. All right. What's that? What do we got? The fiscal program. Say that.
Yes, so that's a graphic visual. Okay, good morning, everybody. I am going to try something a little new today. Every month I come here and I read these numbers off to you, and I'm just gonna pull them up today and showcase them. our programs, we've already been talking about the Defensible Space Program being shut down. Part of our system that we're building out, I did want to share that we were able to bulk, like mass email every active applicant in the system. And these are just fun things that we're able to do that we weren't able to do before. So sending out 342 emails only took me 10 minutes instead of 10 hours. So I was very grateful for that. Our chipping program, I've posted them up here. We have completed 282 jobs this year, and we've spent $107,247.17. In our Defensible Space Program, we were able to evaluate 156 new parcels this year before the pause, and we were able to clear 112. That cost us $174,593.40. Out of those applicants, 24 of them were veterans, 100 of them were seniors, 33 of them were low income, and 36 of them were disabled residents. And for our hazardous tree program, these were the numbers of closing out at the beginning of the year with our previous grant, and we are expected to launch our new hazardous tree program next Monday on May 25th. So we will open the portal to the public, and we will be accepting new applications for this next rotation of funding. So I will be putting out an announcement. So if you have been waiting, next Monday on the 25th. But we did close out doing 28 at the beginning of the year, which was 104 trees that were cut. And that cost us $73,452.50. Something that I wanted to showcase with the new software that we're building, I worked with the builder to mock up a community chipping event map. Well, first I want to thank all of the fire safe councils that participated in community chipping events these past couple weeks. Sierra Springs, Mosquito, and Texas Hill all participated in chipping events. So I just wanted to thank you guys for reaching out to your community and getting involved. It is really nice to see how many active applications we received during those times. I pulled up Sierra Springs' event here just to showcase something that we're gonna have the capability of doing in the future. I know everybody here loves their maps, so here, what you can see here is Sierra Springs' FSC boundaries, and it highlights the parcels that were completed during that event. And I input, at the bottom, 76 jobs were completed during that event, and it ran $14,750. These are one of the things that I'm most excited about, having the capability of doing once we get our build out completed. So keep it in mind, we're not there yet, but beautiful things are coming. Any questions? Cool. Thanks, guys. Beautiful things are coming. That's all you need to know. All right. Moving on.
Good.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Breakside, everybody does love their maps.
Yes.
Next up, training committee, Elizabeth.
Yes, so we have been somewhat busy. Yeah, our training committee had a meeting, the other day. And the main things that came out of that, we are trying to organize a field map. So for the assessors, part of the process is to gather information that goes into CAL FIRE's field map system. It's data that they use for research and to direct resources during an event, that sort of thing. And we've been needing to get our assessors trained to enter this data directly into the field maps program because it's just too much manual work for Carrie and myself to keep up with all the good work that's going on out there. So we're trying to coordinate that with Dawn from CAL FIRE, and hopefully we'll have a date for you guys soon. And it will be a classroom training. The thing about the field maps, so one thing I want everybody to think about, what we'd like to have is at least one person from each fire safe council that's doing assessments to be trained to enter this data. You will need an Apple device, either an iPhone or an iPad. It does not work on non-Apple devices, unfortunately. So find the person that has that, and send them to the training. I don't guess we have grants to give everybody an Apple device, so, anyway. So try to find somebody that can facilitate that, for your fire safety counselor. And then the other thing for assessors, you will be getting an email in the next day or two with, 2 new forms. So our assessment form has had a, basically invisible text thing, something that was screwing up some text in one of the fields. We fixed that. The form will look exactly the same to you. But we got that fixed, and we're trying to get the date changed in the footer so that we know which version we're using. So that should go out. And then for the field maps data collection form, the form that you had been using, that LE 100, has given people a lot of fits on different levels. One, the use of the violations terms, and then the other part of it is we actually need to be collecting data on every structure on the property. So not just the main house. So every chicken shed, every barn, every storage shed, and the form that we've been using does not have space for that. So CAL FIRE developed a new form that is just a data collection form, and it will alleviate some of those issues. It will probably start new ones, but you'll be getting an email. So watch this email. I will try to explain it. If you have questions, reach out. Hopefully it's a lot more user friendly than the form we have been using, and then it'll be easier to enter that data in field map. So that's where we're going with that.
2 forms, they have, attached garage. And they're just new.
Yes. Well, it's not 2 forms. Well, watch this new form when it comes out has fields for additional structures on the property. So it'll be a 2-page form, but there's room to describe multiple structures on the property. If you have more than 4 structures on a property, you will need to use an additional form. Because I just did one where there were 7 structures on the property, so you would have to use an additional. We'll look at it, and it's fairly self-explanatory, and I'll try to write some narrative that hopefully is coherent, and yeah. So hopefully, and if not, then maybe we can we'll go over it when we do the field maps training, and hopefully eliminate any questions, so. I think that's it for now. Any questions on assessments? Yes.
You know, at this time, what the minimum size for a structure is?
So there is no minimum size. If you either categorize it as 120 feet, 120 square feet or under, or over 120 square feet. And so what is required for those 2 sizes is different, right? If it's over 120 square feet, it's a structure that needs 100-foot defensible space. If it's under 120 square feet, it just needs a 10-foot cleared buffer around it.
What if you have a 6-square-foot doghouse? That's it.
If it's not attached to the ground, it's not a structure. Is it permanently attached? Yeah. So like a storage container, like the metal shipping containers,
yeah,
they're not structures because they're not attached. Okay, just to confuse everybody one more level. See this, for those that aren't assessors, the detail that our people have had to wrap their brains around and in their volunteer capacity to try to understand it is just amazing. So thank you. I want to say thank you to all the assessors out there that volunteered their time and done the training and are trying to understand all these nuances because it is complex and endlessly evolving. And unfortunately, the only static thing in the assessor program is change. So bear with us. And then we will get a portal, database portal at some point also. So there will be more change coming after this, just to warn you. So keep learning, keep your brains nimble. You need to keep learning. Okay. Any other questions?
Steve,
Okay. And always feel free to reach out to me, email or phone. Hopefully you have all those data points and, I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Elizabeth, a lot I know that's a lot, and I do see a lot of chicken coop and doghouse jokes coming, so. All right, education. Yeah, not. Outreach and education.
It's not cooking channel here. The beginning of May was a very exciting month, and as Tanya had already said, on May 2nd, there was the Cal Fire, Coloma Lotus, Serrano events, but also we have the Home and Garden Show, and there's a shout out very much thanks to Terry out at Mount Auburn Fairplay and Shiloh out at Omo Ranch and Elizabeth at Sandridge for helping coordinate, get volunteers and staff 3 days worth of an event, and that is time consuming and exhausting. So thank you very much for your efforts. Also, that was going on May 2nd was the Placerville Wildfire Day. And it was well attended, obviously exciting. Cal Fire, you already mentioned, Tanya mentioned that. There is a change then to remember that in how we're doing semi-business. If you're having an event like the Placerville event, needed more volunteers than just the Placerville Fire Safe Council. Well, we're now in areas as according to like the CWPP. And so people reach out to people in David's in the East area. And so people from, there was Camino Inn helping out, there was Placerville was there, obviously Strawberry showed up. So volunteers from other fire safe councils within your geographic area, please reach out to them. One of the events coming up will be the Cameron Park Summer Spectacular. It's no longer going to be, thanks to Alice Addis, Spoiled and Lester for setting up, getting volunteers, and then tearing things down. That's not going to happen anymore. Alice, you know, it was just too big. And we really appreciate Alice's and Lester's help. But know that on June 2nd for the Summer Spectacular, they need to look to all the fire state councils in the West area as other events keep coming up throughout the year. Look into your area and the fire state councils within. So we're shifting how we're doing business here. But that brings up the one. There are two events next year. Will be the Home and Garden Show is a big county event, 3-day event. It's not a 1-dayer, and the fair coming up. We need volunteers from all fire safe councils helping out. So don't run, but in the back, there's a sign up sheet for fair slots. First come, first serve. Don't run yet. At the end of the meeting, know that on that back table, there's sign up slots for we need help with getting materials there. Then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then also getting the materials back over to the office. It's a lot of work. We want to make sure that we spread the wealth and opportunity to all fire safety councils to help. So I will also be reaching out to those that have been trained assessors. You have the best, most current information, and we'd love to have more trained assessors there doing the volunteer work along with all other volunteers that are available. So with that, the important thing. The home hardening box came back from an event. Now I realize there's a lot of good information and materials in there. It came back half full. Somebody has all the rest of the home hardening materials. So we're not mentioning any names at this point, but if you go home and look at some Vulcan vents and go, gee, where did these come from? They belong to the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. Please return those pieces of information back so that we can get them back in the box. We ultimately are working, then the outreach group will be working to set up 2 home hardening boxes going on because we're realizing we're having fire safe councils having events on the same day. So we want to make sure that we have 2 full boxes. And thanks again to Alice's input, we'll make sure that and Lester's, some great information in those and available. Any questions? Yes.
I saw the sign up sheet, but I didn't see a date. I just saw times. Do you have dates for those functions?
The date is June 18th through the 22nd. So it should say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's Thursday the 18th, Friday the 19th, Saturday the 20th, and Sunday the 22nd. But also Monday to be able to help get the materials back. And the Wednesday before, which is the 17th, to be able to get the materials there in the first place. And we'll make sure that for the materials going there, we'll have those all collected. So this is all the fair stuff that needs to go over. Yes. And if you haven't been to the fair and seen it is a lot of fun. It's fun to be in the booth itself, but there's the whole lineup of first responder booths, OWOPers there, CAL FIRE, Forest Service, RCD is there. So it's right at, we're lined up right across from the horse arena. So that's the alley. You want to come and visit. And volunteer first, then come back and visit. Okay?
There's a question online about if you're not in a meeting today, who do they reach out to sign up?
Oh, please, just send the vice chair, myself, an email. I'm collecting names.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions? All right, now we're up to community council reports. So time for everyone to share what's happening around the network. Mark? Grizzly Flats.
Mark Ulmer, chairperson and treasurer of Grizzly Flats Fire Safe Council. A couple things. You'll hear this 2 months in a row from me. Our 2026 Firewise Day is Saturday, July 18th from 3 to 7 p.m. At 7802 Hermosa Vista in Somerset. And we're going to partner with Burger Nights for the food. There's going to be ribs and beef brisket there, and a silent auction fundraiser. The council is going to provide free snacks and desserts and sodas and bottled water. And I know some of you have attended in the past. It would be great to see all of you there. Second of all, of less favorable notice here, on April 30th, when I logged into our Columbia Bank account to prepare our treasurer's report for our meeting, I noticed that there was a $12 and some odd cents ATM transaction for some pet service, and kind of worried me a little. Contacted Columbia, and they put it into dispute and sent a new ATM card. I asked, because I never take this card out of my wallet other than to make a deposit, how this could happen. And they said that there are algorithms that these folks can do out there, and just they'll ping your account, and if the transaction goes through, then it could be Katie barred the doors, and I would not want to see $27,000 go down the drain. So fortunately, I caught it, and they shut down the ATM card. But just for all you chairs and treasurers out there, watch your accounts, because if I had not logged in when I did, who knows what could have happened from there. So I'm gonna check with Columbia to see if there's a way to lock the ATM card. I'm looking in the app. I don't see anything so far, but I'm gonna see if we can do that, unless there's any other advice from our treasurer extraordinaire.
No.
Okay. Any questions?
Thanks, Mark. We
See me for flyers.
thought maybe you were getting your cats groomed.
No. That's an important point, and I do have a suggestion you can do. Check with them and see if on your ATM card, anytime that card is used over a certain amount, you'll get an email. I have all of my cards that way, so anytime any of my cards are used, even my wife uses one for something or whatever, I get an email. And I've got twice now, one with American Express, people in LA buying clothes, $100 clothes out of New York. If you do that, you can catch it. You'll know as soon as your card is used. I know before I leave the counter in the grocery store that I've used that card. So that's one way to do it.
Thank you.
Others, Lester.
I'm going to share that the Oak Hill Area Fire Safe Council, we had our Community Day event in late April. Typically, we try to have it earlier. One of the things we try to do is really emphasize kind of celebrating accomplishments of people doing fire safe work. And we use it for our Firewise reporting. We had over 1,000 hours of work reported and over $12,000 worth of work in the last year. Of actual cash purchases and whatnot for doing home hardening and defensible space. So kind of just wanted to highlight, and that we really appreciated the Neighborhood Radio Watch was there, Sierra Wildlife Rescue, and we had some great contributions from various folks. One of the things also just highlight is really interesting, Sierra Wildlife Rescue has a flyer of wildlife safe kind of landscaping and work that can be done around homes. And it's amazing how close that is to some of the fire safe work also. And so kind of a great opportunity to look at benefits.
Thanks, Lester. I'm gonna grab Gary Bull online and we'll go back.
Hi, and Gary from Rancho del Sol. I just wanted to comment. We held our green waste event this last weekend. I got 4 dumpsters. I had planned to have them there all week, and all 4 were completely full in about a day and a half. So very successful event there. Also, last week we had our first joint community event with Fort Jim and Camino in Rancho del Sol. I want to thank Courtney for organizing that, but it was a very successful event, great speakers, and a good turnout. That's all I have.
Thank you, Gary. David.
On June 10th, Steve Allen and I are going to be at the Forest Service building that's on Brew Road near Thompson's Jeep and all that. It's a SOFAR cohesive strategy group presentation. This is going to be more like a fair, I guess. And so it's run by the Forest Service, but it's part of a larger collaborative. And so Steve and I'll be staffing the Placerville Fire Safe Council desk, table, and but there'll be all kinds of people there. There'll be a lot of conversation, I think, about the Caldor reforestation, but it's meant to be a part of the whole cohesive strategy collaborative. So that's industry people, that's environmentalists, that's Forest Service, private landowners. Some of the other fire safe councils here will be at that presentation too. And I also want to give a shout out to Karen and to Dorothy and Angel and even Greg for showing up at the Placerville Fire Safe Council. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Jason?
Yes. I'm gonna add some few things on what Gary was talking about, our collaborative fire safety council meeting. We had speakers, Duria Saeed from the California Department of Insurance, Jacob Pogansky from El Dorado County Fire, and Chief Cordero showed up at one of his last hurrahs at our meeting, which was really nice. And we also have a collaborative community event that we're going to be doing between our 3 fire safe councils on July 19th. It will be at the Davies Family Inn on Fort Jim Road, and we invite both of you to come. It will be afternoon 1 to 4 approximately. And if you have any questions, you can talk to myself or Courtney.
Thanks, Jason. Others, let's go with Ken first, and we'll grab everybody.
Ken Rogers, Lockdown Fireside Council. First and foremost, there's 3 items I want to talk about. First and foremost is South County planning area. First time we've had that type of meeting. And I walked in, eyes wide open and not knowing what to expect, and I was totally impressed. But there's 3 individuals on the board that I was really, really impressed, acknowledging that this is not only one meeting they go to all the planning areas throughout the county. And that's Tamara, Ken, and Tanya. I mean, what a success. Seeing all the different layers and understanding what was going on. Wonderful meeting, and I think there's going to be more great things coming out of that's just a start. Secondly, helping neighbor, we were invited by OWOPR and CAL FIRE to participate. We were very, very fortunate. CAL FIRE told me that it was a demonstration project, but it was so successful that hopefully there's going to be more in the future. But special thanks goes to Tanya for bringing in Tribal Fire. We are so fortunate to have Tribal Fire, a self-funded agency within this county. We just don't know how lucky we are because other counties don't have that luxury. So thank you for all your work on that. And how successful were we? We had approximately 20 people on site. A lot of those individuals were from CAL FIRE, but a lot of those individuals were working non-traditional in the office jobs, and they were out there working their butts off. In 4 hours, we took 60 yards of material off Mr. Burkhart's property, 60 plus yards. So it was crazy what they were doing. It was really, really impressive. So we found some things that we can work on in coordinating different programs, and we'll talk about that later offline, but really, really, really good. The third item is our Green Waste Day. We've done this for years, but this year we hit it out of the park. Over 400 yards of material we collected in 5 hours. 5 hours, over 400 yards. It was crazy. And like Tanya said, there was always a line. Pat had to shut he went to every person in line and said, we got to give these guys a break. Alta Vista, that is one of our partners, they were working their tails off. And we gave them a break, but
Thank you.
yes. If you need someone, if you need a partner to do chipping for your green waste event, talk to Alta Vista. They're wonderful. That's all I got.
Thanks, Ken. Great work. All right, I saw their hands in the back.
Hey, Greenstone had Kit Deer Camp. She did a great job. The attendance wasn't as I wanted it to be, but anyway, there was quite a few people though. And they all commented how great Kit was in describing the plants and, and one thing that was interesting is that, plants have their lifespan and people should clean out plants that have been on their property for 20 years. So it was really good information and it was really well received. So thanks to Kit for that. We're going to have our green waste coming up in July and hopefully that will be a success. I think it usually is. And as soon as we get the new workbooks from OWOPR done, are they coming out in July?
Going out to the clients.
Okay. We're gonna do a mass mailing in July to everybody in Greenstone and with good information, and we put a cover letter together telling everybody the importance and a good neighbor, because there are people in Greenstone who own property that don't maintain it. So we're gonna make a point of that. So that's all for Greenstone.
See, let's go with Bob and then we'll switch over here.
Hey there, Cole Otis here. Well, I wanted to comment on the last meeting we had. Tanya brought it up, but months ago, our board had decided to do something on the voluntary assessor plan and the non-voluntary counter plan. And then lo and behold, that we had scheduled it, lo and behold, Tanya's office had scheduled some inspections in that area. So we let everybody know that was coming. But we had really good attendance. We had 50 people show up. Tanya, I'm sure you've all had Tanya speak at your meetings. I don't want her to get a big head. But if you haven't had Tanya speak, you really should. She's a great speaker and she can answer every question. So I had asked Elizabeth to show up, and at the last minute, she had a wonderful family related thing come up. I always say family first. So Kit Bearcat took Elizabeth's slides and she did a really nice job covering the voluntary assessment plan. So lots of questions, and we've also had a bunch of folks sign up for assessments, and I've been fortunate to do a few of those. And by the way, I wanted to mention, we usually, as long as I can remember, we've always had our meetings at the Grange, which is in Columbus State Park. And because it's in the state park, the park's always busy on the weekends, and we can never have our meetings on the weekends. So we decided to try a different location, and we used Sutter's Mill School. So I don't know whether you've used schools, but you know, they opened their doors to us. They had a janitor set everything up. Didn't cost us a cent. Very nice. The only problem was they didn't have internet. But you know, we might be able to fix that next time. Real nice little multi-purpose room, and for 50 people, it was very comfortable. We did record, couldn't stream this meeting, but we did record it. So if you want to see kids talk or cameras, the recordings are available. I never mentioned this. We have a Paloma Loaded YouTube channel we've had for several years. So our videos are all available. Some really good ones. The most viewed is Alice's Full Heartbeat. I checked that the other day. So just go to YouTube, Google Paloma Lotus. And the last thing is we have 3 green waste weekends in the next 3 weeks. So we're gonna spend out that money.
That's right.
Thank you, Bob. Sandridge.
I will take following some of these green because we did good.
Yeah, ours, this past weekend, we filled 2 20-yard dumpsters, so nowhere near Log Town, but we are way off the beaten path, and it's hard to get people to come as far as we go out. We actually do it way out on Sandridge and then way down on Morning Glory. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We did have over 15 parcels show up, and many of them came again and again and again. And we did fill up our 2 dumpsters, and then some. We had to fill up our Watkins Forestry, which is really great. We've been very pleased with them for the last 2 years. Filled up their truck as well, and we even had to turn somebody away at the end that had some green waste. But we did have new and old people, new and old residents engaged, which was great. And hopefully we'll just keep getting bigger and bigger. We'll see. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's see what Auburn Lake Trail is going to do for us today.
I'm Mike Connolly with Auburn Lake Trails. We had a booth at the community yard sale this last weekend. It was well attended. CAL FIRE and OWAPR are now sponsoring mandatory inspections in our area, and we had a lot of questions come up about that. So thank you for the help with that one, Tanya. And we had a lot of opportunity to interface with people in the community. We're having a green waste dumpster day on May 30th, the end of the month. And our grants are going well. As Courtney mentioned, the Northern Shaded Fuel Break grant, we mobilized in the field on May the 4th. And just this morning, the first area of that is being inspected for compliance. So making good progress on that 380 acre shaded fuel break. We have 2 grants from PG&E. One that's a 40 acre shaded fuel break, and it's going very well, and we probably will finish that grant by the end of this month in the field. And the other is a 20 acre shaded fuel break, which we hope to finish in the field by the end of June. So we're very happy this year. PG&E awarded these grants much earlier in the season, so we were able to get on the ground and get most of the work done before we got into the heavy fire season. So that was good work. Thanks.
Karen, mosquito. You can box me up on this.
Is this on? It is. On May 30th, Mosquito Fire Safe Council will be hosting our Ready Fest evacuation and wildfire preparedness event and picnic at Dyer Lake and Mosquito. We're featuring El Dorado Sheriff's Office for evacuation. CAL FIRE, of course, will be there, Forest Service, with Smokey Bear, which is probably the most important part of the event. Also, MFPD, our fire district, and representation from Garden Valley and Georgetown will also be there. We're really promoting all of the agencies together, and we're promoting our new Unified on the Divide thought process up there. We are also going to be introducing our red flag warning program, working with our fire department and their support group. And we'll be releasing our new mosquito magazine. It's been probably 3 years or 4 years since we did our first workbook, and AltaView company really with us really listened to what our community wanted and what appeals to them, especially the younger generation. And so we kind of had our new magazine worked around that, and so we'll be releasing that. And I think that's about, yeah. Yeah, we'll have Sierra will be there, Sierra Wildlife. Anyway, anyone is welcome to come, and we're looking forward to it. And we just wanted to tell David, we had a great time at your event. It's May 30th in Mosquito at Dyer Lake. And oh, thank you, Carrie, for always sharing our stuff. We appreciate it because our webpage is not ADA compliant, so we kind of laid that down low. And also I wanted to just mention our red flag warning, our new magazine, all of that is a direct result of the Title III money that we got and Tamara's, the $4,000 that we got last time. So it really, my husband is especially appreciative because it's less firewood he has to cut up and sell on behalf of Fire Safe Council. But so everybody, really, there's so much you can do with that money that we get. So thank you, Tamara, Ward, everyone for that money.
All right, let's do red flag program.
What is that?
Yeah.
Actually, we should have had it a few days ago. It's bad.
I know what red flag days
Yeah.
are.
So we had some standing flags that were made that have our logo on it, and then it says red flag warning. And we have strategic spots that we will have in place throughout the community. And then we also had a big cloth stretched banner that explains what the red flag warning is about and the evacuation, because a lot of people didn't realize that you should probably be really prepared. At that time, some people just thought, wow, it's really hot and the wind's blowing. So, but I will actually bring all that stuff to our next meeting if you want.
Yes.
Set it up in the back
Yes,
of that.
Yes.
People can see, and we also did an evacuation with this money, another big banner that explains traffic control and how you should follow it during a evacuation. So we're trying to educate the community as best we can, but I'll bring all that at the next meeting and set it up in the back.
Yes, please. That's good stuff, Karen. Thank you. Court.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Cord with El Dorado South Fire Safe Council. Thanks to Bill and Serrano Fire Safe Council, I borrowed his idea of having El Dorado Hills Fire come visit our next meeting. It's the 6th of June. We are in a moderate LRA, and El Dorado Hills Fire sees that as pretty low risk, and actually we are relatively low risk, especially compared to the other communities in El Dorado County. But it's been a good year for us. as far as defensible space, and people will find the idea they should at least be prepared and look at what they can do in their homes. And so we're gonna make this a barbecue and treat everybody to some food, and El Dorado Hills Fire will be there to talk about the new defensible space ordinances and how El Dorado Hills Fire sees that as being still an area that they would think they're gonna recommend they should look at that in their homes and their defensible space areas. So it's been a good year for us, and we're looking forward to having the first really big event and informational meeting for this year. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Right, yes.
Hey, hi, it's Rich Lang with Toronto Fire Safe Council. We had our first Firewise Fair this past Saturday, the 16th. It took about 9 months of planning for the 5 of us. It was amazing the number of details that we had to work through on that. But had a very successful fair. First one, it's hard to judge attendance, but well over 100 people were there. We had 13 booths set up with a number of different home vendors that are there. We also had 4 speakers covering from the California Department of Insurance, an insurance broker, El Dorado Hills Fire Department talking about defensible space, and then also somebody from oh yes, I'm sorry, for emergency evacuation. So a lot learned during that point. This Friday, in fact, we're gonna have a meeting to do a retrospective and see what we do next year to improve that. I know it's a little bit different from the other organizations here, but we also have an HOA that has quite a robust set of rules associated with planning materials. And we had invited them, and it turned out to be a very, very wise move, because I think it really opened their eyes to the concerns that the community as a whole had. So the other thing too, we also had invited some volunteers from the local school too. So we were looking for a broader community reach on this, just not the normal suspects. And I think by us spreading that word, I think it benefits the community as a whole. And I also, we ended up with 26 people signing up for assessments too. So, good day.
Yeah, thank you, Rich. Any others? Okay, well, I say this at every one of our spring meetings, but I have never, every year, it's like you eclipse what was going on, the previous year. There is so much happening that you're all doing, whether it's 20 yards or 400 yards, 15 landowners, 100, it doesn't matter. It's just that there is so much engagement that's happening. And sometimes we forget when we don't, we're all in our own worlds doing our piece of it. But when you sit back and listen to it in totality as to what you're all doing, it is phenomenal. So you not only have all of that, but then just the effort going on, Tamara and Janet on the grant management, fiscal side of things over the last couple of months have been, they're in like every meeting that you could possibly be in with all the partners in every place, engaging. And then the work going on with public outreach and with the team, Angel, Dorothy prepping for elections and working on the programs and working with the staff. There isn't anybody that's sitting around waiting for something to happen. Everybody's just 100% engaged, and it truly shows. And obviously, that's why it makes it really easy when we all go out and start talking about what we're doing in our communities. People are listening and paying attention, which of course is generating more work for us. But so we are a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it is all amazing, positive, good work. And I am not just saying it. We are going to Sacramento. We were in Concord. We are in these places, and they're talking about how come we can't figure out how to do that El Dorado County law. So we're doing it. Just keep up. Just keep doing what we're doing, and definitely give yourself some pats on the back because you're the ones that are doing it. So. Okay, so now we're up to public comment. So this is for anything that's general nature that isn't on part of the Community Fire Safe Council reports. And again, just introduce who you are, and remember we just have the 3-minute limit, so everybody has time to Sure, Lester.
Yeah, Lester Lebetkin, actually gonna be representing El Dorado chapter of the California Native Plant Society. Just thought I'd let you know that we've been involved with a statewide effort at developing a wildfire policy for a California Native Plant Society. And using a lot of the information from the fire safe councils, building that into the statewide policy. One of the big things the policy recognizes, it's a very diverse state, and what works in one place doesn't necessarily work in others. And so that's definitely been built into it as well.
Thanks, Lester. Oh, yeah, Paul, go ahead. Oh, good. Good.
Hi guys, my name is Isaiah Thompson. Bear with me, I'm not very good with mics. And I'm nervous, so. But I'm Isaiah Thompson. I'm the new owner of El Dorado Forest Solutions. I'm here to present a project that would bring a tire cap feller buncher mulcher. It's a very versatile piece of machinery down here to support forest health, fuels reduction, and wildfire prevention work. El Dorado Forest Solutions is pursuing a CAL FIRE business and workforce development grant to help purchase this machine. The grant request is for less than half the total cost. The remaining amount would be funded by El Dorado Forest Solutions through a loan and cash contribution. If awarded, this grant would bring valuable equipment to the region, create an additional local job, and provide that employee with a living wage and full health benefits. This grant program is specifically designed for private for-profit businesses. Since this funding will be awarded for private businesses somewhere in California, my thought's simple: why not have that be awarded here in El Dorado County? For background, I also own a forestry business in Shasta County. Since 2019, we've cleared several thousand acres for RCDs, fire safe councils, etc. And all those organizations have in the past supported our CAL FIRE grant applications because they understand the need for more job equipment and workforce capacity. I understand Charmy Stevenson reached out on my behalf and that the Fire Safe Council has chosen not to provide letters of support due to the competitive bidding process and concerns over favoritism. I totally respect that concern. However, I would ask the board to consider this issue for future applications to any contractor. Supporting a grant concept is not the same as favoring a contractor in a bid process. A letter of support simply states that additional equipment, workforce capacity, and investment in fuels reduction are important in the area. That support could be offered to any qualified business seeking to bring more resources into El Dorado. Without local support, CAL FIRE views the proposal is less needed in this region, and that funding will go elsewhere in the state. In closing, I'm here to make you aware of my plans for El Dorado Forest Solutions and the opportunity this grant creates for the county. I'd like to thank you for your time and also tell you how impressive it is, how much work you guys are doing in the county of fire prevention, safety, and it's been a really fun meeting to sit through, and I really enjoyed this. I thought it would be quite boring, honestly. I can tell you guys are a good group of people, and it's really fun listening to all this, so good job.
I don't think it was that before Isaiah. So thank you, and for the record, Isaiah, you're an amazing public speaker, so you did just fine.
Thank you.
So David, always stepping in, Sin's a full mission, that's my job, Sin's a full mission, that's my wife. But anyway, so I was approached by the SOFAR Cohesive Strategy Group, which I mentioned earlier. I'm a charter signer wearing several hats for that group. And so I signed the letter of support for the grant. And I was amazed by all the various titles I had. So the one I chose was Classville Fire Safe Council, and I didn't know I was stepping into anything when I did that. I apologize. But it was as a charter signer for the SOFAR Cohesive Strategy Group. So you do have a letter of support from the SOFAR, and I could have signed it as the Sierra Club chair or something else, but I thought that would be more controversial than the fire safe. So I did what I did. I'm sorry, everybody, but I didn't know I did that. All right, I did it.
David, maybe you've raised a point then, because we also signed a letter. Separate one from the Oak Hill Area Fire Safe Council. El Dorado Forest Solutions was the primary contractor for the South County project. And we appreciated the work done, recognized that they could have done more had they had additional equipment and all. So, yeah, if there is some policy statement relating to letters of support from associate fire safe councils, that would be good to be shared.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad folks are bringing it up, and I think it's an important point. We had a myriad of discussion at the executive board about it, and one, everybody supports our contractors and Eldorado Forest Solutions, all the ones that we work with. Unless we have a documented track record of issues, obviously we want to continue to work with all our partners. They're critical. They're all critical. Otherwise, the work isn't going to get done. The source of discussion at the executive board, though, was just these workforce development grants are fairly new for us to be weighing in on, and we had a tight time frame to be able to provide a response, and we weren't all together in the same place. There was some good discussion about what was raised by Isaiah. Well, we don't know that we have a competitive bid process. How does this impact? And it may not at all. I think what we want to do is be more thoughtful going forward and develop a policy or a framework that we can respond to these better in the future, because we absolutely, everyone wants Eldorado Forest Solutions and all of our contractors to get the resources they need. And we just need to make sure that everybody's comfortable, that it doesn't create any conflicts in our competitive bidding process, that there's no real or perceived implications that we're favoring one contractor over another. And it's something that the B board has taken under consideration, and so we'll bring it back to the group down the road. But absolutely does not reflect on Eldorado Forest Solutions or any of the other contractors that we work with every day.
Along those lines, so far has a document anyways, basically for letters of support that identifies what the green, yellow, red projects that or items that and it can be signed without bringing it to the full so far collaborative would be green, ones that need some discussions and ones that aren't appropriate. So maybe something along those lines would help us at the associate level of having some guidance of, what are some things that we need to reach out further, or we can make a decision at the local level.
That's great, Lester. Yeah, I think we'd be willing maybe to someone could share that over with the group, and no one's in trouble. No one's in trouble for signing letters of support. Just know it's all coming to the right place. We just, as the 501c3, obviously we're looking at it in a very conservative approach, and we will gather all of this intel and work towards a process going forward. Other open, sorry, Paul. Yeah, quickly, I just dismissed you.
Yeah. I'm used to it. Just want to remind everyone, Flag Day is June 14th, when we'll be having our party here. I'll make sure we put it on the calendar on our site, which brings up, there are so many dates that were brought up today. It would be great to make sure that everyone puts it on our calendar. And so get that to Carrie, and she will have it posted on the calendar, so we're not all going, what date was that? So I would be most appreciative. I do want to emphasize what an amazing opportunity we have today, that Tamara was able to convince so many of these candidates to come here and talk to us. You don't get that opportunity for these people going for office. So please come here at 12:30 for the candidates forum. And speaking of candidates, if you haven't met Bill Rice, who is at a moment of weakness, has agreed to run for our treasurer, Bill would just stand up and say hello. Make you feel welcome, or I'll run away.
All fighting without home.
Thank you.
Our growing company over the years now, probably gotten to know Paul. And I've been there for 6 years. I'm originally from the Bay Area, from San Jose. And this is the first place that's ever felt like home for me. When I'm not here in Placerville, not at my house, I feel homesick, and I've never had that. Little background, so 6 years, moved over 6 years ago, I've become a river guide. I never thought I'd become a volunteer river guide. I volunteer for environmental travel companions. Coloma, you know ETC? And so I volunteer as a guide for ETC, which is we take folks with disabilities or other disadvantages on the river, and it's pretty amazing. It's getting folks on the river. I'm gonna stick for 3 minutes here, so I'm gonna get into my professional experience. I was in the Air Force. I joined after 9/11. I joined a combat communications unit and satellite communications, and thinking that I joined and I'm going to be off I'd go to the wild blue thunder. I never left the United States. I was actually stationed here in California, at the Air Force Base in Travis for a little bit, and at the same time I got back into the Air National Guard and I pursued a master's degree in finance. And at that time, my career in finance changed a little bit, going from smaller organizations to multinational organizations. And why it applies here is managing large budgets is not that much different than managing a small budget. You have all the same inputs and outputs. The complexities of local regulations, putting together a forecast or a budget that decision makers can understand, members can understand, and members at large can understand. It's a challenge, but it's very rewarding. I know, Jessica, you put together a listing of results of programs, and what I'd like to do is make that more visual, more impactful. And my point is you built so much here with this group, and I attended one meeting 3 months ago, and then the exec board meeting, and every time I'm more impressed with what people have built. Everyone knows their jobs. I think it's pretty cool. It's uncommon in nonprofits. I've been the treasurer of 3 different nonprofits of larger and larger scale. So one from a school-wide thing to county-wide. I'm currently the treasurer of the Lupus Foundation of California. And every time I learn more, and that's part of why I'm here, is learning more. One is being a more effective communicator, not just hiding out behind in a spreadsheet in Excel and emailing things and just being passive, but actually getting out there and understanding issues, translating them. A big thing for me is visibility and transparency. So I like the red flag idea. It's like we have our own issues as well. Kind of like a traffic signal. Like you may not know what's up there, but then maybe 400 or 500 meters ahead, you see traffic signal ahead. You don't know if it's going to be red, yellow, or green. And that's what I hope to bring is the visibility and also the transparency. I know that Tamara and Janet, you guys know how money comes in and how it leaves, but I don't yet. I will know. And the goal is real transparency so that every council understands and all the members at large understand how money comes in, how it goes out. And the community to me is a big part of it. I became a river guide. One is just because I become not sedentary, but less, I was losing who I was as a individual, as going from someone who's not fearless, but very comfortable outdoors into someone who is comfortable indoors. And that's really helped me, that part of it. But I do have a community down there, but I'm looking to build the community larger. And El Dorado County is a cool county. From El Dorado Hills to the top of the ridge, couldn't create anything more interesting for a county. I like the sharing of knowledge, and that's, you'll see me. Everyone will see me at your local fire safe council. I will be there to listen to understand what's going on at your local fire safe council. I like the sharing as well. You can learn from other fire safe councils. You don't need to invent it yourself and do it yourself. Benchmarking sounds like I'm a consultant. I was a consultant at one time. I don't want to use the benchmarking word here, but we will see what other fire safe councils are doing within our sub councils and then share ideas. Ken and Janet, you mentioned this, is other counties and other jurisdictions outside of El Dorado County are looking at El Dorado Fire Safe Council as a leader. And why wouldn't I want to be a part of that? It's fun. It's not a mess takeover. It's confusion. Maybe the sign says, caution, high winds, caution, fog ahead, but it's unknown what the next couple of months and years are gonna look like, but it's gonna be fun. And Janet told me she's not going away. I can phone a friend. I'm a quick study, but some of the stuff, all the acronyms, how different grants can be used for different things, the constraints. It's kind of like a complex board game, and not an exact board game, but like it is like a board game where we need to understand the rules and how things work, and that's where I'll be leaning on people with more experience. But questions, or this is a statement? This is good. You're good.
I'll buy the next beer.
Thank you very much. David, back for round two.
Yes. Dale, I'm the service officer here. And also, there's a free lunch on Memorial Day. I almost forgot, Papa, the Flag Day, free lunch on Memorial Day here, 12 to 3.
Who's got the flyer in the back of the room?
Be careful, he's an idiot.
All right. Other good of the order. Yes.
We'll start the timer here. My name is Dan Milton. I'm a resident of El Dorado County. I've been a resident for 4 years. This gentleman, speaking in public is not my forte, and that's something I'm not good at. So bear with me here. I have a proposal that I think can change the landscape of fire defense throughout the state of California. I'm an innovator, I'm a builder. I hold multiple patents. That one's sitting over there. I have an idea that if I could run past you, I talked to Jessica, I sent over an email. She recommended I come here and talk to you guys. I believe that water availability and access is probably the second most important resource firefighters have when it comes to suppressing fires. Obviously, the number one resource is fire personnel equipment. The second would be water and water availability, especially in the WUI environment. It's outlined in the CWPP exclusively, not only in El Dorado County, but throughout the state of California is a serious limitation to these rural areas, and access to water is a major concern. I set out 5 years ago after the Caldor fire. This idea inspired from the Caldor fire. Firsthand witnessing how fire personnel struggle with securing water in these rural communities. And it leads to the growth of these fires. They grow larger and larger and larger with the less amount of water is playing a critical role. They run out of water when every second counts, these fires run. I have a solution that I'd like to speak to you guys. We hit a lot of fronts, and I only got another minute here, but we're hitting wire a lot. We're trying to solve obviously community defense and resilience. We're attacking the crisis with insurance. If we can get these communities, if we can build out these communities, make them more defensible with water access, and proposing we work with local people, local landowners. We tap into these natural water sources like Ken mentions, they identify them. The problem isn't always availability, it's access to these water sources in a meaningful way, quickly to get that water out into the fire line to fire. That's what we're proposing to solve. We have a functioning system in Somerset. It's on DeAugustini's Reservoir. We work real closely with the DeAugustinis. It's being tested now and currently. This is a long process. We're working with the California State Water Resource Board. We're working with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. We're working with DOT. We're working with local governments for permitting to determine if this is even viable or possible. But I believe this. The groundwork's been laid. The idea is there. Every community potentially could go out regardless of where you are. And, you know, if you're out in Fairplay or if you're out in Georgetown, Coloma, or Pool, you got a natural resource. We can basically put a municipal fire hydrant anywhere throughout this county that fire personnel can access that is accessible within seconds. So, you know, cutting down that time that fire personnel have to either go draft and they got to bring water out We can improve the flow, we can improve the gallons per minute to the fire line, we can sustain more water to the firefighters with this system. Municipalities, I think you guys would all agree, you know, they weren't designed for fire defense, right? They were designed for protecting structures, not fighting wildfires. They fail, they weren't built for it, they're not meant to do that. This system, this network, if you will, this grid that I'd like to build in El Dorado County, which is specifically designed to combat wildfire, right? So you, maybe in this district, maybe in this county, there's 500 or 600 of these things that are strategically placed in vulnerable communities that would allow quicker access to fire personnel during those emergency situations. It doesn't have to be potable drinking water, the fire don't care. You leave the stress on the structure, on the infrastructure from, let's say, EID, for instance, or these CSDs. There's a lot of tons of benefits. I think I'm already at 5 minutes, but you know, I'm trying to solve huge problems and it's.
So folks you'll be around after the meeting, so if folks want to chat with you.
Absolutely. I'd love to talk to anybody that might be.
Oh yeah, there's flyers here too. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, anything else? All right, well, as you've heard multiple times, brown bag session is at 12:30 and our next meeting is June 17th. Have a great day. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Room set up for the forum.
Just like this.
Like this.
Thank you.